Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a day in the life of a law student because I am back at university studying a Bachelor of Laws and International Relations. Now I realize a significant amount of time has passed since I last uploaded a video, I think about a year, yikes. But for now, I just want to focus on moving forward and the direction of my channel, which to be honest isn't going to change too much apart from the inclusion of more student related videos and day in the life vlogs. So yeah, at the moment I'm studying online through Deakin University, but I will be transferring to the University of Adelaide in second semester, which I'm really excited about because the uni looks like Hogwarts. So I'll be able to film some really cool content when I'm on campus. Oakley dokley, so it's nearly 9 o'clock and I'm just about to start some Torts exam revision. I decided to study over the Christmas break just one topic because Torts is such a heavy subject and I really wanted to get it out the way before first semester starts in a few weeks because I'll be studying contract law, and the thought of studying contract law and torts makes me want to vomit a little bit. The plan for today in terms of revision is just to go through some previous exam papers and just give a really good attempt at answering them, and then just checking the issue guide and seeing how I went, because there are a few areas that I'm still a little bit unsure about, mostly to do with negligence, because negligence is such a huge topic and there are so many parts and elements that you need to satisfy, and I feel like the exam realistically is going to be focused primarily on negligence. So I just want to really make sure that I have that down packed and I know at least a brief outline of the steps and the points that I have to identify if I'm presented with a negligence question. Okay, enough talking, let's get to it. So just checking in, the time is 11:15, so I've been at this for nearly 2 hours. I feel like I'm doing pretty well so far. So this exam is from 2018 and it's set out with 2 factual scenarios and then a bunch of questions for each scenario. The bulk of the question is to do with negligence, of course. So I've just been working through that. It is pretty full on. Negligence, I feel, is just one of the most, not necessarily the most difficult kind of concepts to get your head around, but there's just so much information and there are so many steps. So you have like the steps to determine whether negligence has occurred, and then for each step there are multiple steps to establish that particular step. I know that sounds really confusing. So the first approach, the first thing you do when you're dealing with a problem of negligence is whether or not there is a duty of care. So whether the defendant or the plaintiff a duty of care. And then within that step are multiple steps. So you have to look at reasonable foreseeability, and then you have to work through whether or not there's an established category of duty of care. So in this particular exam, it deals with the defendant driving negligently and causing injury to the plaintiff. So that's fairly simple because there's already an established duty of care for road users, drivers and road users. Torts is very heavy with case law, so you have to make sure whenever you're bringing up a legal principle or referring to anything, you have a case like as authority for that particular principle. And there are so many. I feel like I have a pretty good grasp on the main ones, but we'll see when we actually get to the breach of the duty, which is what I'll be working on next after I've made myself another cup of coffee. With Lyra's assistance, of course. everyone, welcome back. So the time is currently 1:25 and I finally finished working through the exam. It was from 2018 and it took a fair chunk of time. I went through the issues guide and I didn't do too bad. I covered pretty much the bulk of the issues, but I found with negligence there are still certain steps that I've forgotten or that I need to elaborate more on. So what I've done is created this lovely outline of negligence, which is very general and very brief, and each step requires a whole other process. But I figured this will kind of give me a basic outline of what I need to address. Like, for example, when you get to the breach of the duty of care, you have to not only identify a standard of care, but you also have to identify the risk of harm and at least one precaution. And that's something that I get all those three sort of confused and do them all as one, whereas like this outline, I can actually look at it and remember that they're separate, and that will kind of help when you're working through a breach. So the major steps when dealing with negligence is duty of care, breach of duty of care, causation, and remoteness. And those are the major steps. And then for each of those steps, you have other steps that you have to satisfy in order to satisfy that particular step. So it's a lot of information. I think I'm going to make myself a peppermint tea and then probably just go over the recordings, the lecture recordings of negligence, like duty of care, breach, all of those, just to kind of refresh my memory a bit. And yeah, then I think that will be my focus for the rest of today. It's just going to be strictly on negligence because that is such a big topic. And then I think maybe tomorrow or the other days leading up to my exam on Monday, I'll just touch upon briefly defenses, damages, and maybe a bit more on vicarious liability. But I feel like vicarious liability is something that I have a fairly good understanding of, so I don't really need to spend too much time on that. So I'm just having a little bit of a study break at the moment because I've just been staring at the screen for so long and I'm starting to get a bit of a headache. So I can't remember if I said before, today is Friday and my exam is on Monday. So I have 2 days left to revise for it. I'm not feeling too stressed, which is good. Usually when it gets to exams, I start panicking because there's always so much content to go over. But apart from negligence, I'm feeling pretty okay with the other torts. I've done pretty well today, to be honest. I've pretty much achieved everything that I wanted to achieve, which is always a nice feeling. It's just, yeah, the lecture videos that I'll go through because I'm still not feeling entirely confident with breach. There's a few sections in the breach area of negligence that I'm a little confused about. Mostly the not insignificant risk. Yeah. Really fun times. just finished having some dinner. Liam made us a really delicious tofu stir fry that was extremely filling and satisfying. It's going to give me that necessary bit of last energy to get through the remainder of my studies for tonight. So Liam still has some work that he has to do, so I figured while he's finishing off what he needs to do, I'm going to finish off what I need to do. So I'm not going to be doing too much for tonight. I'm just going to go over a few more videos to do with negligence like I was doing before, and then I'm just going to briefly read through some case law. So yeah, I'm just going to go through some of the most important cases, probably make some more notes, or maybe even write them on a separate piece of paper so that I know if I get a question dealing with, say, reasonable foreseeability in the breach stage, then I know like the authority that I have to mention and that I have to read or whatever. Sorry, it's just at that point now where my brain is like, no more, no more.